All right, so this is part 2 of our guided practice. We're going to pick up on number 12. Again, we're using the classifying and balancing chemical equations worksheet. That was our classwork worksheet. All right, number 12. So here we see another place where we can use the strategy. You see hydroxide in a compound on one side and a water on the other. So remember, we're going to rewrite our water as HOH, and that's going to help us to balance it a little more quickly. So I have one sodium here and one sodium here. Look at your front hydrogens. I have one lead hydrogen here, but two hydrogens here in the front of that, which is just H2. So we're going to put a 2 coefficient. That gives me 2 hydrogens there and 2 hydrogens there. All right, now let's look at the hydroxides. Distribute the 2 over. I have 2 hydroxides and only 1 hydroxide here. So I'll put a 2 coefficient. That gives me 2 hydroxides. 2 sodiums, so I need to put a 2 here. That gives me 2 sodiums. So the equation is balanced with a 2, 2, 2, 1. 4 coefficients needed on that one. Number 13. You have 2 silvers here and only 1 here, but 1 oxygen here and 2 here. So let's do our oxygens first. Let's put a 2 in front of the silver oxide, and that gives me 2 oxygens and 2 oxygens. That fixes my oxygens. Now, let's see how many silvers we have. 2 times 2 is 4, so let's put a 4 here. 4 times 1 is 4. So this is balanced with a 2, 4, 1. And I would put the 1 here, y'all, because otherwise you might think you can reduce the 2, 4. There's actually 3 coefficients needed, so the equation needs to be 2, 4, 1 to be correct. On number 14, we have a very large subscript. So let's deal with that first. Large subscripts are kind of a place that you would want to start. Let's fix that. I have 8 sulfurs here, so let's put an 8 over here. That's going to give me 8 sulfurs there. Now, you got 8 times 3 gives you a total of 24 oxygens. So we know that 12 times 2 is 24. So 1, 12, 8 balances that equation. So again, don't be afraid of large coefficients. The next one is actually an equation you might remember from your biology. It's actually the equation for photosynthesis and respiration. So let's take a look at this one. Now this one is actually, if you look, I call it a reverse combustion. So we can utilize the same strategy I talked about last time with the switch trick with this, since it is related to the combustions. So I'm going to start with the hydrogens. So there's a 12 here. So I'm going to put a 12 in front of the compound with hydrogen, which is the water. There's a 2 here. So I'm going to put a 2 in front of the hydrocarbon. So that gave me 24 hydrogens here and 24 hydrogens here. Now, when you do a combustion reaction, you want to do your carbons second. So I have 2 times 6 is 12 carbons. So how can we get 12 carbons here? Well, we have to put a 12. 12 carbons here and now 12 carbons there. Now remember, the thing with the combustions that make them so challenging is those oxygens. So let's add up our oxygens on this side. Since we have coefficients in front of both of these compounds, let's total up our oxygens. 12 times 2 is 24. And then 12 times 1 is 12. So we got 24 plus 12. That's going to give me a total of 36 oxygens on the reactant side. So we got to get 36 oxygens on the product side. So we have 2 times 6 is 12. So I got to figure out, do a little bit of algebra. 12 plus what equals 36? Well, of course, we know 12 plus 24 is 36. We see that here. 24 plus 12 is 36. Well, 12 plus 24. That means this part has to be 24. So how can we get this to equal 24 oxygens? Well, do the math. You get 12 times 2 is 24. Look at the equation. It can be reduced. So we have a 6, a 1, and a 6. 6, 6, 1, 6. All right, let's look at number 16. 1 potassium, 1 potassium, 1 magnesium, 1 magnesium, 1 bromine, and 1 bromine. Guess what? This one's already balanced. So in that case, you can just put to the side BAL, or you could just put 1, 1, 1, 1. There are 4 coefficients needed. If you think it's already balanced, please either write BAL or 1, 1, 1, 1. All right, let's look at 17. For number 17, we've got, I don't really see anything other than an odd number here, maybe standing out with the bicarbonate. So you could start with that one if you want to. So let's take a look here. I'm just going to start with the hydrogen here. We have 1 hydrogen here and 2 hydrogens here. So let's put a 2 in front of the HCl. That gives me 2 hydrogens and 2 hydrogens. Now, that gives me 2 chlorines. And look, you already have 2 chlorines on this side, so they're balanced. Move on. You have 1 calcium. You got 1 calcium, so they're balanced. You have 1 carbon. You have 1 carbon, so they're balanced. You have 3 oxygens. And you have 1 oxygen here and 2 oxygens here. And they're separated by a plus sign, so 1 plus 2 gives you 3. So this is 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. So this one here actually needs a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coefficients. All right, let's look at number 18. 1 hydrogen here plus 1 here is 2 hydrogens on this side. There's your equal sign. You have 2 hydrogens on this side. So the hydrogens are balanced. Nitrogens, I have 1 nitrogen and 1 nitrogen. So they're balanced. 3 oxygens plus these 3 is 6 oxygens. 3, 4, 5, 6. This one is also balanced like number 16 was. So 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Number 19. All right, so on this one we have 2 oxygens on this side, and we have a total of 3 on this side. So there's an odd number of oxygens on the reactant side. So I'm going to put a 2 here. That's going to give me 4 oxygens on this side. So let's put a 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4 hydrogens, and 2 times 2 is 4 hydrogens. So 2, 1, 2 balances that equation. And again, y'all, this is trial and error. So I would suggest, especially for beginners, using a pencil to balance. I know I'm using a pen, but I've been balancing for a while. And so some of these I can kind of eyeball them and see. But I would definitely say for now, if you're with all y'all being brand new with this, I would use pencil for balancing so you can erase. Okay, so look across, and I've got 2 bromines here. So let's go ahead and put a 2 there. That gives me 2 bromines, 2 bromines. That makes me have 2 sodiums. So let's put a 2 here. That gives me 2 sodiums. 2 times the fluorines gives me 2 fluorines. So I got 2 fluorines. I got 1 calcium and 1 calcium. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Excuse me, 2. Got rid of 2, 1, 2, 1. Okay. 2, 1, 2, 1. Last one, number 21. All right, so I see the nitrite showing up on both sides. I'm going to put parentheses around those. I see sulfate showing up on both sides exactly the same. That'll help you save you some time because there's 1 sulfate here, 1 sulfate here. So the sulfates are balanced. There's 1 nitrite here and 1 nitrite there. So the nitrites are balanced. I got 2 hydrogens here, but only 1 here. So let's put a 2. That gives me 2 hydrogens. Now that gives me 2 nitrites. So let's put a 2 here. That gives me 2 nitrites. Also gives me 2 sodiums. And so now we're going to put, look here, we got 2 sodiums. So 1 here and the 2 hydrogens here, and there's 2 hydrogens there. So it's going to give you 1, 2, 2, 1. And that balances that one. Okay. So that's it for the guided practice on balancing equations. We'll talk about these a little bit more as we move on in the unit.